I know.
Network 3000 presents
Hello everyone, I'm Jeremy here, and welcome to the next episode of the 3000 Hangouts here on this Thursday night. I hope everybody's doing well, and as for me, I'm trying to keep myself warm in my pajamas, in these blankets, because I hate this weather of winter. Can somebody pay me to go to Florida, please, or at least, I don't know, Aruba, or Cancun, wherever. Probably not Cancun. But anyway, in this episode, we are going to do something a little bit interesting for you all. You guys remember Ernie Anderson, who appeared on my show a couple of times before, and I interviewed last year during June, which is National Game Show Month. Well, he is going to be returning on this episode because my friend Juan got offered from Ernie if Juan wanted to interview him, and Juan said, "Sir, out of Ernie's offer," and we are going to be presenting that to you here on this episode of the 3000 Hangouts. So, without further ado, I'm going to have Juan take the floor here for the rest of the show, and along with Ernie and whoever is on this program as well. I have no idea. You know, it could be a ghost for all I know. So, without further ado, Juan, take it away.
Oh, thank you for the introduction.
Juan, mi amigo.
Hey, Ernie. I was gonna introduce you, but I guess you're in the introduction.
I'm in the show, really. But you are frozen.
Oh, really? Huh. Well, it's live. Anything could happen. Try to reload the tab. I think that's what's happening. The thing yeah. Try to refresh it.
What do we do now?
Well, I can hear you.
Mama.
Do you hear me? Wait. Oh, you can hear me. Okay. So he'll be back. Hi guys. I am David's friend Juan. I'm gonna take over David. He has a little things to catch up on. But how's everybody doing in this great night? Really. Everybody's saying hello in the chat.
There you are.
There you are. Hi, Ernie. Oh my God.
Hi.
You're back. I had to say a few things. I was like, oh my God, where did he go? No, I'm kidding. I was just scared. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted? In my
no, muy bien.
Spanish.
Why are we talking in Spanish? Oh my God, you actually did pretty good. That's good.
Sí, señor.
Sí, señor. Maybe you should be a Mexican. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so David usually talks to or brings you here to talk about game shows. I will talk about radio because that's one of the things I mostly love and know more. Which, by the way, today I did a little radio test because my friend had his own radio station, internet radio station, and so I did it, and it's not the best. I'm gonna say that because there was a few hiccups here and there, but I'm trying. I'm still trying to do my new stuff on it. But is everything okay with the radio stuff, Ernie?
All is good. Good day. When this company took over last May, my duties were decreased. My pay stayed the same. So I have plenty of time outside my show 2 to 6 weekdays, Eastern, to write haiku questions. So I've been writing furiously because, we're going to do 2 versions of it. One in Huntington, West Virginia, at Marshall University, which is what you can see on HaikuTV.com. And then we're going to do a version in Rio Grande, Ohio, with Just Ohio teams. Our company is based in Jackson, Ohio, and the owner, Alan Stockmeister, is very good friends with the president of Rio Grande. So they thought that would be a nice venue. They have a beautiful theater, apparently, and it's still in the works. We're supposed to tape February 23rd. I provided them with the old Haiku set, plus tabletop buzzers because they didn't get buzzers installed.
Yeah.
So I happen to have those buzzers. It'll look cheesy, but it'll work. So I have plenty of time with less duties, and it's worked out great for me.
Oh, that's good. Hey, if my motto is if it works, it works. You know, with all this free time, a lot of, like, snow days, like a lot of people on radio have been, well, they've been recording their shows in the house, like in their houses, which, it kind of makes sense. And a lot of teachers, they do in school, and not online early or learning. That's what I mean. Which, everything is online now, but whatever. I'm glad I graduated. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh, I got a few questions for you. A lot actually. Let me see. Let me give you the most important one, or the one that I call important. Uh, how did you get your start on radio?
I blackmailed the owner. No, I it was a lucky break. It's kind of like being in the right place at the right time. I was at a high school in Logan County, West Virginia, and the radio station for which I would first have my job was in that county. And my doggie is wanting to be on the show, but you can't let me. And so our school was like the redhead stepsister of the big school in the county, the largest school, Logan High School. They had a show on Saturdays where they had one or two of their people go up to the radio station, and they would play music and dedicate it to people at school and tell about what was going on at their high school. Junior high schools, as we called them back then, also were doing that. And I thought, why can't Man get something? Man High School, MAN. And so I went up to the guy and I said, Mr. Bailey, what would it cost to have a show on for Man? He said, oh, no, those shows are free. I went, really? And he said, I've got a 4:30 p.m. afternoon slot open on Saturdays if you'd like to have it. But I went, well, okay. So the next Saturday, this girl and I went from school, and we had a board op, so to speak, somebody that ran the controls, because we had no clue. And we were in this studio in the back of the building, basically, called Studio A.
Ooh.
And we did our little show. We talked about Man High School, what was going on, dedicated some songs. The guy who was our board op, so to speak, played the records. They were actual discs, 45.
Yeah, like actual vinyl, yeah.
Yeah. And this was in September of 1966. I was a junior at Man High School. And I said, come around the first part of December, Bill Bailey, the owner, called me into his, Barkey, what do you want? Sorry to do this. You want outside or what? He's so needy. Let me
No, it's okay. Take your time.
Some porch and let him out. And I don't know if you can see it in the dark. There's
it is pretty dark. Wait, let me put the camera on here so I can show it.
Snow-covered ground. Mr. Bailey called me into his office, and I thought I'd done something wrong. And he said, Ernie, I've been listening to you and Beth do the show, and I think you have potential. My night guy is leaving, and we have a show called Platter Party, because records were called platters in those days. Yeah, and especially the 78s and the 33 and the thirds. And he said, it's aimed at teenagers. You're a teenager. I think this would be great for you, but I wouldn't want it to interfere with your schooling. And I said, well, what time is it? He said, it's from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And he said, you'll start at minimum wage, which was in that day $1.25 an hour. My first real
Wow.
job. And I thought, well, I've got it made. I'm a millionaire. So I took the gig. Then in those days, you had to get a license from the
Mm.
FCC, and you had to study three separate parts, parts 1 and 2, and Element 9, which was more technical. And
Yeah.
Lord knows I'm the least technical person in the world. It's a wonder I'm even on this. Um, and so um, it was wonderful. It started out, people were listening. Now, mind you, this was a 1,000-watt daytime radio station, which means by nightfall, and depending in those days on the month, you had to sign off at certain times. And by December, because you were a directional station, you had to sign off at 5:15. Uh, so um, that was the humble beginnings, $1.25 an hour as a junior in high school. Well, I suddenly became the most popular guy in the school because, ooh, he's on the radio.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people listen to that little radio station, because in those days there were no internet, there were no social media. It was radio, and they depended on you to give them every piece of information that you could come up with, whether there's school tomorrow or there's a wreck down the street. Be careful, all that stuff we passed along, and people hung on our every word. And that's a far cry from what it is today. But you felt important. You felt as though you were doing a great service, which in hindsight, we were. We were their lifeline to everything. So very humble beginnings. And here, 60 years into it, I'm still making $1.25 now. No.
You would not. I'm sorry, but you would have barely any money to make it with this inflation.
Yeah.
You had that minimal wage.
So it's today a strange business, but I love it. And this new company that took us over, and I've almost always worked for local companies, which is a great thing. No iHeart or iHeartless, as we call them. No
Heartless. Yeah, that's so true.
No Cumulus, none of that. But now this company called Total Media now has 40 radio stations. Now they're all local stations, and they're almost all in Ohio. There's one in West Virginia, which crosses over into Ohio, up in the northwestern part of West Virginia. And then they have one in Kentucky.
Yeah,
but
good.
Most of the rest of them are Ohio. And so, of course, I pitched HiQ to them, saying, oh, you can make a lot of money by doing an Ohio tournament. And they bit like fools. No.
Yeah.
And we're still working on it, but we're supposed to tape February 23rd. So I'm hoping that indeed we can do that. But radio's been very, very good to me. And I'm the only one they kept from the old staff. So
that's good.
The local guy who was an attorney who owned the radio station went on the air in October of '82, and he sold it last year. When the new people came to look at the building and meet whoever was there, that former owner said, now Ernie is our star. And I went, really? He said, he's our guy. He's been here almost from the beginning. And so they kept me. And I'm just very thankful, because it's a cutthroat business. And with automation, why, they don't really need you. Like Monday, we had this snow and ice storm, and I couldn't make it in. Well, they just let the computer play. It was just it was more of a jukebox. No personality at all on that day on any of the shifts. 6 to 10, 10 to 2, 2 to 6, and then 6 to midnight. Now, still 6 to midnight, we're jukebox, I call it. There's no live person there.
Yeah. Nobody is there because nobody wants to work overnight.
Yeah, well, I've done that in all my career. I've worked every possible shift, almost every format of music, from top 40 to gospel to country to what else? What haven't I done? Polka.
Oh, you really polka? Have you done this is not really on what I was gonna ask, but have you done any R&B?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite music.
Huh,
I cut my teeth on Motown, and that was the R&B of our day.
Yeah.
And then in 1979, I was at moved to a different radio station that was modern country for a couple of months. Then they switched to disco. And the guy had a disco club in town. He said, "Would you like to be my disco DJ on Saturday night?" And I fell in love with 12-inch cuts and all those extended versions of song.
Yeah.
That is my favorite genre of music to this day is disco, and all it is R&B basically.
Still
And
pretty
now,
good. I
yeah, and
love it.
now on Sirius XM they have Studio 54, they have the Smokey Robinson channel, and they have BPM, which is more like electronic stuff.
Yeah, like
Uh,
more EDM, whatever.
yeah, EDM, and then they have what's the other one I listen to? Studio 54, and there's one other. Like grooving oldies or something,
Oh yeah.
and
Like
it's all that
oldies.
stuff I played when they were hits, and
Yeah,
I
now a lot of
had
people classic. Now people a lot of call it classic hits now, which is pretty insane.
yeah when I did DJ work on the side, class reunions, wedding receptions, and the like. Uh, I collected the most massive amount of disco songs, especially the 12-inch versions,
Yeah.
and utilized those a lot. And people love to dance to that stuff. And I used to
Yeah.
watch people just go nuts in the disco. And that's when disco was hot here, at least in West Virginia. I know it was, New York, I'm sure, and other places
Yeah.
preceded that.
Even like I know New York was like the number one I heard on a lot of formats. Like Z100 is so famous
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I'm trying to remember another station. Kiss FM, but that's Los Angeles actually. But
yeah.
yeah, those stations are just the number one for me. So.
I listened to the Heritage WABC station with
Oh yeah.
Cousin Brucey and Dan Ingram and all those guys that were just massive. But somebody said, "Who do you pattern yourself after?" And I went, "Nobody." I said, "I'm me. If a owner manager doesn't like me and my silly sense of humor and now my vast knowledge of music, then I don't want to work there." So
Valid.
most of the time, most of these owners have let me be me, and I've established a wonderful. Let me close this door. It's freezing out there, and he wants to be outside. Uh, and um, a lot of people have followed me from day one back home that now can listen online, even though it's country. And I kind of cut my teeth in a way on country along with Motown because we had a country show before mine. And then during my show, we had to play some country. It was the crossover kind, that Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers, and
Oh yeah.
or people
those.
that would have come, in the 70s especially. And so Hank FM came about. I'd never heard of it before with this company. And we are soon flipping two of our other stations to Hank. And a new morning guy is going to come on. He's kind of a local legend here, kind of a comedian. Actually had a top 100 hit. Guy named Cletus T. Judd.
Huh.
His real name is Barry Poole or something like that. But he was married at the time to a girl I worked with at the last company I worked for, a local company. Have a beautiful daughter who's a singer like her mother. Julie Reeves was kind of a Nashville wannabe sweetheart of a gal and beautiful voice. So Cletus T. Judd's going to be our new morning man, I think, starting next month. He's going to be on 5 Hank stations at the same time.
Wow.
So somewhat of I guess, a syndicated morning show in a way.
That's like not automation. That's it is
Just
syndication.
syndicated, and he's going to be based in Ashland, as far as I know, where we are. Plus, his company is adding an AC station, a hot AC,
Good.
and I'm going to voice track that from 10 to 2, and then be live on Hank 2 to 7, 2 to 6, and I can't wait. I love Top 40. It's
Yeah.
80s, 90s, and today. It's a great format that a station in the capital of West Virginia, Charleston, long-standing favorite called V100. That's their format, and I love that format. I've always wanted to work a contemporary hit kind of station, and now I'm going to have my opportunity because this company loves me, and I still can't figure out why. But
Well,
but
you are the legend.
well,
In
people,
West Virginia.
people call me that here, and I don't think of myself like that. I'm just a humble guy that has lucked into an occupation that I don't think many people could say, yeah, I've done that for 60 consecutive years.
Wow.
And I just feel so fortunate that I'm still doing what I love and now adding the television part, well, online part with the
Yeah.
game show. So, and game shows were my first love when I was 10 years old. Used to watch when I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and
Yeah.
we took a wrong turn off the interstate and wound up in West Virginia. And that's another story. And I got my love of the 50s game shows with all the big game shows that started out. And I said, I want to be, by the time I was 10 years old, I said, I want to be a game show host. So
That'd
in
be great.
1984, I got my first gig of that locally here on the CBS affiliate. And that's when I started hosting High Q. And it's just been, it's been on and off over the years, but thank God it's back on. This is its 5th season of the newest incarnation.
Wow.
But having a name in the market is, I don't know if my dog's wanting to come. Barky, come on in. He stay out there. He doesn't care for the below zero. He doesn't care if it's below zero or not. Come in here, you silly
Yeah,
thing.
you say that, and yet it's been bad. Okay, okay. This reminds me of a question I did have in my head. If you could have not been a radio host, what job could have you taken?
First would have been actor, and second would have been a teacher.
Ooh, can you tell me
I'm good.
why an actor? Sorry to interrupt you.
Well, it was General Hospital, my guilty pleasure, that in the Luke and Laura era in the late 70s into the 80s, I thought, God, I'd like to be an actor and be
Yeah.
on that show. But I did 2 high school plays, and uh, to much acclaim, not patting myself on the back, but I loved it. And the first one I did, I was an evil character, Dr. Harold G. Fursig. This is when I was a junior.
Yeah.
And I was a mean guy in the beginning, though. So I go off stage, and when I come back, they applauded like crazy. Our little theater that we had, I don't know how many it seated, 100, 150. They applauded, and I thought, I like this. And so a guy dropped out the week before my senior year in a play. And they went, Ernie, can you take this part? And I went, it's just a week. They said, please. So I learned the part and got it. And that kind of gave me the bug, I guess, back in high school. And then in college, I had an acting class, and the professor just loved me. He thought I was funny. And that still is my love. And so, in a way, being a game show host, I think of it, you're acting like a Dick Clark or like a Regis Philbin, even though it's local, but you put on a show and you hope for applause. And I just enjoy the heck out of it. I mean, it's just what I dreamed of doing since I was 10 years old, and I'm doing it. And so that's why acting and then teaching, I really thought at one time I wanted to go back and get a master's degree so I could teach on the side, because you never knew about radio.
Well, yeah.
But I've lucked in to radio for now 60 years. So,
And that's good because usually people get fired
and
before
yeah,
they even.
exactly. I've been fired 3 times, but luckily I had a friend
Ooh.
those 3 times who took me in at one of the stations he was at the time. And we had worked together. And
Yeah.
he's like, I can't believe they fired you. We want you. And I went, okay. So, so it was, and he's now retired after 56 years. And I'm the
Ouch.
oldest tenured radio announcer in this whole tri-state market that we have. And I just feel so fortunate. And the other part of the teaching part is I've taught Sunday school classes since 1983.
Ooh.
And so I do get to be a teacher in a way. And I love that. I've always worked with teenagers, and they made me feel young all these years. And I'm going to be Peter Pan. I'm never going to grow up. I don't want to. There's no fun in that. I'm a grandfather to 5 from age 27 down to almost 9. Uh,
Wow.
and I love being a grandpa. My grandpa in New York was grandpa. And so they said, "What do you want to be called?" Poppy. I said, "I want to be grandpa." My grandpa was grandpa.
Yeah.
So I'm grandpa, Grandpa Ernie or Grampy. They call me Grampy Rabbit, my 2 little ones.
Crimpy rabbit.
And I love that. It's a character apparently from Peppa Pig or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I love it. And I'm the cut up. I always have been with my kids and my grandkids. I'm in the
Oh
middle of the floor playing Wheel of Fortune with them. Uh, Bingo, anything I could be a
yeah.
game show host. And so I'm the fun grandpa. So
That's what I'd want in my family. I want someone that would play like Family Feud or that would be great. Like I love that. Let me see. Okay. Have you interviewed? Who are some of the most notable celebrities you've interviewed in your life
well,
with 60
Art
years of radio?
Fleming, Art Fleming, the original Jeopardy host back from 1964, long before Alex Trebek did it.
Hmm.
Art Fleming, who had done some movies, some commercials. Um, Merv Griffin hired him to be the host of Jeopardy in 1964. Well, in 1979 and again in 1980, he came to Huntington, West Virginia.
Yeah.
I was at one station the one year, another station the other year, and he was in town both times to do the College Bowl radio finals. So naturally, I'm thinking, oh my Lord, here's a game show host. I've never met one. I've lusted after them all my life. And so we had a talk show on the first station on a big AM station in this market. And WGNT, they called themselves the Friendly Giant, GNT.
Oh,
And it was a
yeah.
monster, 9:30 a.m. on the dial. And the guy who did the crosstalk show said, "Well, do you want to do crosstalk and interview?" I went, yeah. And I have pictures of that. I don't think I've sent those to you. I have pictures of
Oh
Art
no.
Fleming of me. I have this big floppy mustache, a fro, a beard. I can't remember if I had a beard then or not. Art gave me some tips because I said, I want to be a game show host. He said, and he gave me some tips. I abided by them, but never got a bite from any producers or anything like that.
Oh
Uh,
man.
but just a great guy. I met Pat Sajak when he came similarly to Columbus, Ohio, which is about 3 hours from here.
Ooh.
He did, it was right when he started or getting ready to start. No, it was 1984. He had just started Wheel of Fortune. So he came to do something with College Bowl there in Columbus. So I got his autograph. I said, I drove 3 hours just to meet you. He said, really? Real? I went, yes. You're a game show host, and that's what I want to be. And the next year, or that year later, I would become one. Whom
Good.
else have I met? Game show. I met a lot of music stars, but uh, never met Regis. Regis is my
Uh,
broadcasting hero. I would probably wet my pants if I had ever met Regis. And the same thing with Dick Clark. I mean, they were two
ooh.
of my idols, but Regis is my all-time favorite, and he is to me just the quintessential, or was quintessential broadcaster. Funny, he could be
Yeah.
serious, a great interviewer. And of course, Millionaire went through the roof for ABC, 1999, and they wore it out. But
Yeah.
then, his talk show in LA and then in New York for all those years. And so he was my absolute hero. And so they both died on me, and I can't make that. I have met Chuck Woolery, who was the original host of Wheel of Fortune,
Ooh.
but he and I worked at the same radio station in Ashland, Kentucky. That's where he's from. It's where I
Yeah.
work now. He was there in 1959, and I came
Ooh.
in 1970 to that same station. Well, he was long gone by then, but his mom still lived in Ashland, and he would come back from time to time. So they named a
Sweet.
little piece of road in Central Park in Ashland after him called Chuck Woolery Way. So I met him there, and he was at that time he was in between his Scrabble runs. Scrabble had canceled. They were retooling it, and just before he went back to the new improved Scrabble, I got to meet him, and I asked him because he's a tremendous musician, and I asked him. In fact, he had a top 40 hit with his band Avant Garde called "Naturally Stoned," and it hit number 40 for 2 weeks or 3, and that was it. Great song though. And one of the guys in that band would go on to be one of Billy Ray Cyrus's band players.
Oh. I guess Doggy wants to be in the video.
He
In the
just
stream.
he,
Sorry.
he's just it's a great
Bark.
name. Bark Twain is what they gave
Oh,
him
yeah, Bark
when I
Twain.
adopted him, and I thought that's too clever. Barky, quit. That's too clever to change. So he's Barky Boy, and he lives up to it, obviously.
Well,
But,
yeah, I can tell by the way he's barking right now.
Yeah. So I met Chuck Woolery, Pat Sajak, Art Fleming, any other
great.
game show host. I can't think at the moment if I did. But sadly, 2 of my greats have passed on. And so, and it's so funny. When I first started Haiku, my daughter was graduating. This would have been in 93. She was graduating from high school.
Yeah.
And I went to her graduation, and a young man came up to me and went, "Oh my God, you're the host of Haiku." And I went, "Well, yes, I am." And he said, "Can I shake your hand?" And I went, "Well, sure." Hey, oh my God, you do a great job. And that makes you feel really good that you've touched somebody's life, or maybe he wanted to be a Haiku host. I don't know. But
I would react the same way. I'm not gonna lie. If I see you like somewhere in the wild, be like, "Oh my God, there you are! Hi."
is he still alive after 60? But I just love what I do, and I don't. My older sister said, "Ernie, when are you gonna retire?" And I said, "From what? They pay me to talk. I literally get paid to talk. When you think about it, you can't get a better job than that. You sit behind a microphone, you talk to people. People do listen, not as intently as they did back in the day, because they have so many other things going on in their lives. But we have people, listening in the office, and
people even listen at work. Which is good.
And so it's just wonderful. The other part of being in radio is, let's say, and I get to meet Alabama, the band Alabama. I get to introduce them on stage, as I did Percy Sledge, who did When a Man Loves a Woman, and as I did Johnny Rivers back in a little place called Camden Park here in Huntington, West Virginia. It's when these people were just kind of up and coming, or they were over the hill but still needed the money, so they played these little fairs and stuff. This was in West Virginia's only amusement park, and it's over 100 years old now.
Man.
And I got to meet him, got my picture with him. And so I've just been very, very fortunate over the years to meet some, not only music icons, but some couple, 2 or 3 game show hosts. And it just, makes my world when somebody puts me on a par with kind of those guys. I think, no, I'm just Ernie. I'm just a little local guy, but you're on the radio. We listen to you. I went, well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm overcome by how people make over me sometimes. I'm just, my grandkids, now when my kids were in school, in high school, I was on the hit music station, top 40, the big, we were having 30, 35 share in those days.
Wow.
And the only competition was the country stations. It was either us or the country station. So we had a 30 and 35 share. We played all the hits. You'd hear this number 1 hit every 2 hours, every 2.5 hours, which was sometimes a negative comment from people. But they listened because they were going to hear their favorites songs. So the guy that hired me to come over from the AM station to the FM station said, I want to create the top 10 at 10. I went, what's that? He said, well, you're going to play the 10 most requested songs of the day. I was the local Casey Kasem, I guess you would say.
Yeah, American Top 40, except you
like
only the
we
10
got
ones.
calls like crazy during the day. Vote for your favorite song. And, some people would vote several times. We didn't have any caller ID or anything in those days. So whatever the 10 most requested songs were, I would play them. I would do my best Casey Kasem, not to imitate him, but the style of show where you find out about the artist, you find out about the song. And it became a monster hit. I had, when of teenagers, when the Arbitron came out that first year in 85 when I did it, I had a 70% share of the teenagers
Wow.
listening to radio. The show was a monster hit. And my son said, Dad, we used to put a cassette tape in and record. And I went, why? He said, well, you played all the big songs of the day, and that way we could go back and listen to them when you weren't on the radio. I mean, they were the hottest hits. And I went, really? And he said, I'm sure some of my buddies still have those cassettes from way back when. I
That's
actually
good.
have a cassette from a year-end countdown show we did there from 1985. But it was a
Wow.
monster show. Well, when that ended, uh, uh, I was I was fired. Was I fired? Yeah. A guy who took over the radio stations didn't like me for some reason. He fired me. So the same guy that hired me there to do the top 10 at 10 had left, and he went to the competing station, and he said, we want you to do a show called Love Light at Night. I went, what?
Ooh.
He said, you're going to play all love songs. And this is before Delilah, who was
Oh yeah,
a
Delilah like
major,
took over.
yeah,
Yeah.
this was before Delilah, at least in this area. And I played all love songs. That radio station was a 100,000 watt radio station, which is now
Wow.
country. We got letters. People actually wrote letters, no computers, wrote
Yeah.
letters, and we had phone lines, 7 phone lines that were lit the whole time in that studio for people requesting.
Wow.
And one guy called me from on a mountain in Virginia, and he said, we're listening to your show. And I went, what? Where are, and he told me, I went, really? He said, I want you to know that you are probably responsible for several babies being born. You're playing all these great love songs, and we're making out in our cars to these love songs. I went, well, okay. Uh, One of the strangest comments that have ever
it
been sent to me.
that's
And
what happens when people listen to Delilah. Yes, I don't know.
uh,
Maybe.
and then another station I worked for, the gal had a daughter getting married. She said, we want you to do the wedding. We want you to play the music for the wedding. And this was at Hilton Head, South Carolina, a very pricey resort. They paid for
Ooh.
an incredible hotel on the waterfront there in South Carolina. And a year later, we did, is it a year later? Sometime later,
Yeah.
her daughter and son-in-law showed me their child, and he said, you were created when this guy played music that night. We went and created you because of all the great music. I went, really? And so those are,
Oh,
yeah, I know, those are some of the strange stories that if I could write a book, I don't know if it would sell or not, but
I
it's
mean,
just
I would buy it.
it's
I'm
just
not
the
gonna lie, I would buy it.
oddest thing in the world.
I mean,
So those are
that's when
some
you
of
do a love song show. That's what happens. A lot of people to do weird comments like that. Ooh, this is you're gonna love this question. What is your favorite part of this industry of the job, the job?
the favorite part is talking to people, being not yelling at them. I have some radio friends who go, "Hey, welcome to the show," and that's yelling. You talk to people as if, like I'm talking to you. You're the only one listening to me. It's a personal touch
Like,
that you have
yeah,
in an audience. I have so many people on my Facebook page that say, "Listen," and if when I see them in person, you're the same in person as you are on the telephone or on the radio. That's the greatest compliment to me that a
it
DJ
is.
can have. You sound just like what they expect you to sound. Now, another funny story is when I was at that hit music station, I went and did a remote broadcast. And a lady came up to me. She went, "Oh, that's what you look like." And I went, "Sorry to disappoint you." And she said, "No, I mean, with that voice, I expected a great, big, muscular guy." I went, "No, just 5'4", little Italian boy from New York." And she said, "Well, your voice, I would never have imagined you looking like that." And so I guess I took that as a compliment.
I think she might have. I don't think it was a compliment the way that she phrased that.
I know, but she thought I would be a much larger individual because
Yeah.
of the voice, I guess, and people. And I've had not proposals, but girls trying to, and even guys trying to come on to you on the phone, never having
God.
seen you, only because of your voice.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought,
that's kind of scary with the
wow,
job.
yeah. But those are just some of the little funny things that have happened over all the years. Lately, it's died down because people have so many other
Options.
avenues to pursue and don't hang on your every word these days. But I still have a lot of quote unquote fans who listen every day that'll send
That's
me a
good.
note, tell me what's going on in their lives. Some I've met, some I haven't, but it's just a wonderful industry to make a connection with people that kind of like game shows or soap opera actors. They react to what you're doing on screen or on the air,
Yeah.
and they have some kind of, they feel a connection to you, and that's just wonderful. I mean, it's just really wonderful. That part of radio is wonderful. Now, one would think after 60 years I'd be making Howard Stern money, but no. Being in local radio, you just don't make that much. If you
Sadly.
want to get into radio, I think even either David or a buddy of mine, Jonas, that lives in Minnesota, we become acquainted. He's a huge Art Fleming fan.
Wow.
I sent him some pictures of art I had, my Jeopardy game, and he's got a lot of stuff, memorabilia. And he said, I'd like to get into radio. He's 18, maybe just turned 19. And I said, start locally. You're not going to make a fortune. You're not going to get all the chicks you think you will because you're on the radio.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. And oddly enough, that's how I met my wife. She listened to me, never saw each other. She called me up and wanted to go on a date, and I bit. And that night we talked marriage. She's the most beautiful woman, love at first
Wow.
sight I ever saw. Well, 30 years later, we divorced. But
Oh man, what
I
a shame.
met,
You almost got me there. I was like, are you still together? Like,
we've been separated, we've been divorced since 98. There's a
Ooh.
whole backstory with that, which I won't bore
Yeah,
listeners with or
no,
people
I
with.
mean, you can say it,
But
but well, it's
yeah,
your
but
personal
it's,
thing.
she had a rough childhood and it came to play a huge part in the marriage. But
Mhm.
she's never saw herself as a good mother or good wife. She was, for the most part, bipolar, which didn't help. But I didn't know that
Yes.
for 25 years into the marriage. So a lot of stuff became clear at that point. But the love ran out years before. And we stayed together for the sake of the kids. Well, when my kids were adults and got their own places or went to college, they said, well, you two just split. Go ahead. You have our blessing. So we did. And it's probably the best decision of my life.
I
But
think yeah,
yeah,
it's anybody. Depends if your relationship is toxic.
yeah,
Um,
it was.
mm,
But
man.
if I went to her door tonight and said, honey, I need $25 for gas, she'd give it to me. It's an odd relationship, but I
Yeah,
thank her for the years. She gave me two beautiful children,
that's
who
good.
gave me now 5 grandchildren between the son and daughter I have. And it's been, as Jimmy Stewart would say, it's been a wonderful life. One of my sad impressions. But I digressed. I went down a path somewhere, and a question you had. Oh, start locally, and if you want to
Yeah.
get in, you're not going to start big time. You're not going to start at $100,000 a year. Get in
Mhm.
locally, whatever you have to do. Whether you're a part timer, whether you're running Casey Kasem's American Top Four, whatever you have to do, get your foot in the door. Once you're in the door, and they see a work ethic. That will play a big part in moving on. Now, that was when I got into the business.
Oh
Today,
yeah.
totally different, where they don't need as many bodies. They can, a computer, they can bring a monkey in and do the job I do.
That
But
issue that like Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
There is like a bunch of questions I did have. I mean, a lot of people don't really like radio anymore because iHeart ruined it
Yeah.
in a way. Uh, it made two generations not like it anymore, and one of the questions is also this, which is it's a little bit like automated stuff. But what happens when you get sick when you're like in the job? Do you do automation? Like what do you do for that?
In these days, yeah, we work through most of it. You never let the listener know you're not feeling well. You don't want to bring them down. Your job is to make
Yeah,
their day. So
100%.
now it's obvious if I have a stuffy nose, I'm going to sound a little differently on the radio. Or uh, if I'm just feeling crappy, I go on with the show. I rest in between the songs and put my best foot forward. Now, in this day and time, they can let the computer take over. I mean, there's no AI, but um,
Yeah.
we can we do what's called drops in between songs. You're listening to 1057 Hank FM and just play music. And sometimes people don't even realize you're gone because
Oh no.
they're there basically for the music. Uh, so this company gives us a lot of freedom. If we're not feeling well, stay home. Don't get the rest of us sick. Um, but there's nobody to fill my job when I'm gone. So I don't want to be sick for an extended period of time. At 104, I'm in decent health. I want to be Johnny Gilbert, the announcer on Jeopardy, at late in his late 90s, who still has that magnificent voice. Although he does his show from his home now, they send him what he's supposed to say. This is Jeopardy, and Henry, here are today's contestants. And here's the star of the show, Ken Jennings, of whom I'm not a fan. He does that from his home and
Yeah,
sends it in. And
it's good.
uh,
I didn't know. I
when,
didn't even know he did it at home. But
yeah, he's in Arizona. And I thought, wow, if I could still have that voice at 98, why do I need to retire? I love what I do. I don't mind getting up in the morning. I don't mind driving through the snow. I love what I do. And when
exactly.
you latch onto a job like that, hang on to it and give your employer everything you got. And I think I've done that over the years, even though some wound up, for whatever reason, not liking me. The first time I got fired was 1978, and I didn't do anything wrong. And I thought, why? The guy said, "Well, I've been listening to your show, and frankly, I don't like what I hear." Well, he
Oh,
was just the general manager who was answering to somebody else. As it turned out, they wanted to put a new show. I was doing overnight, midnight to 6.
mm-hmm.
They wanted to put on this new talk show back then. A guy named, you may have heard of him, Larry King.
Oh,
Larry
yeah.
King replaced me on this station. One, it did away with their having to pay an employee. I don't think I was on insurance in those days. So they cut the
Jeez.
cost there. And I'm sure Larry King was what they call barter, where as long as you ran his garlic commercials, whatever the company that syndicated him did, there was no cost involved. So they saved money. I can see that. I wish they had told me that rather than say, you're
Oh,
fired. And it was no fault of my own. Uh, the
that's
next
fair.
time I got fired was a new owner took over at this hit music station that I did the top 10 at 10 for. For
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, the man didn't like me. I was there 9 years total, and he brought in a new program director who fired me. He said, Ernie, he said, your resume is spotless. You've got such great talent. I know you want to be a game show host, that high Q show. You've got the looks for it. You've got the talent for it. We're going to release you so you can pursue that 100%,
Oh my
which was
god.
a crock of bull. Um, so I went from there to the station where I did Love Light at Night. Well, I read letters that people sent in for dedications on this show in 1990. And
Good.
Lucasville, Ohio prison inmates listened to that show. I got letters from these guys saying, would you mind giving out our number to any girl that might be interested in writing to us? And so I was reading these letters from inmates. Well,
Huh.
the owner's wife thought I was glorifying these prisoners by doing that. And I went, no, these people have a soul like anybody else. They may have made a mistake, but they're trying to reach out. And
Yeah.
they wouldn't. I got fired because I kept reading these letters after they told me not to. And was that the last time I was fired? 1970. Yeah, and I left a couple of stations voluntarily for better, uh, greener
Stuff.
pasture, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but it's been great. I feel again very fortunate to be employed after all these years and still love what I do.
I mean, I'm glad you're still on radio. I mean, me and David, not so long ago, heard your show. I thought it was pretty nice. Um,
And with the advent of internet, you can listen worldwide. I have a nephew
yeah.
who's a pastor of a church who was in the Dominican Republic as a missionary for 10
Yeah.
years. And he sent me a message. He said, "We're listening to you in the Dominican Republic." That never
Ooh.
crossed my mind that people could do that.
Yeah.
Uh, and it blew me away. And so they listened to the show, and I dedicated whatever song it was he wanted. I dedicated to him and his wife, and extolled their virtues of doing missionary work there in the Dominican, which they still do on occasion. Although they left many years ago, and he's a pastor. It's my sister's son,
Yeah.
pastor of a local church now where he grew up, which is pretty cool. So
It's cool.
that same church wants me to come and be Bob Eubanks for a Valentine's dinner newlywed game. And
Oh,
so,
that'd be
being a church
nice.
function, obviously, I can't ask some of the things that they would on the newlywed game, but so I've got church. I call them church friendly questions that I can't wait. It's going to be fun, yeah, to get to do that. And I've done it at a couple churches. Played Family Feud with Bible question or
It's great.
Bible categories, Wheel of Fortune with Bible, all the game shows, Chain Reaction, Bible stuff at churches, and they love it. They get to play along and test their knowledge of Bible. Some do better than others. Um, but so that's just kind of an added bonus of people say, "Hey, would you come?" Yeah, and I'll get a free meal out of it. I don't expect and I don't want any money. Although I went to another church
Hmm.
um, in Kentucky, and we did Family Feud and Card
Wow.
Sharks uh, with them, and they had written me a check for $200, and I went, "I don't want your money. No, you are a celebrity. You should be paid for what you do." I went, "Listen, it's just me. I love doing this. I would give you money to have me come there and do it." But they wouldn't have it. And I thought, wow. So uh, just fun stuff
It's
like
great.
that because of my years in the business and my game show connection. Uh, fun, fun, fun till daddy takes the T-bird away. Then all the bets are off.
I mean, all I should say is do your show here in Texas, maybe. It could fit you. It could fit you. Like the station actually fits in Texas, like
Yeah.
obviously in Tennessee station, but we also have a Hank FM, but it's also owned by a different company.
Yeah,
It's not owned by
it
totally. Yeah,
is. I do now a top 5 at 5 countdown with country artists, like I did the top 10 at 10
I
with
I
hit
did see
music.
that.
And
Massachusetts.
when before we became Hank, we were Cool Hits 105.7
Yeah,
oldies
I
from
was
the
just gonna ask
60s,
you about that. Oh,
60s,
sorry.
70s, and 80s. And when the new
Yeah.
company bought us, they just wanted to change the format. And so I still have my 2,200 shows I did. Not, I just have the paper uh, in folders and folders and folders that I did for that show in
Hmm.
case they ever want to resurrect it. I've got all this material already done.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah, so now I'm on my 130th, I think, Hank top 5 at
Wow.
5, which is it's fun to do. With I have a cousin who listens every day in Kerhonkson, New York. It's about 2 hours north of the city. Um, we had a cousins reunion in Pennsylvania one year, and I was getting ready to do the top 5 at 5. And he said, "Ernie, I think this is great. We're going to listen to your show. And he has never missed. He said, of the 2,000 plus shows you've done, I may have missed 5 of them. I love it. He said,
Wow.
I'm not a country music fan, but I will listen to it. I haven't had any feedback from him since the country thing started, but I know he's listening. And we used to have a camera during the Cool Hits days. We had a camera
Yeah.
in the studio. You could watch me do my show. And I thought, why on earth? But a lot of females and some guys said, wow, you're cute, or you're distinguished, or, and I thought, nah, come on, it's just me. So you never know in this business,
Oh yeah,
especially
no.
especially in this day and time. You never know.
Oh wow. I mean, I wanted to know if you had any, well, as people call it, air checks of the cool hits stuff. I wanted to listen to that.
Actually, I don't. I have one
Man.
from a prior station. Were we doing oldies then? Back in 89 or 90. I do have a cassette of that. Uh,
Ooh, would you mind sharing?
I don't know how to do that. Uh, it's scoped, which means you just hear me coming in and out of
Oh,
songs.
oh, you can
Uh,
upload. Wait, you can record it and then upload it onto. Well,
yeah,
you're not technology wise, but you can upload it to archive. But I'm just saying.
yeah, whatever that is. Uh, Somebody
I'll
at the
teach you
radio
later.
station.
Whatever.
Yeah, so we don't even have a cassette deck or a CD player in the station anymore. It's all computer, and no
Yeah,
place to even put a CD in or a cassette in. But when we had Cool Hits, we had a cassette, we had a reel to reel, we had it all. But the
that's
new
great.
company chose to go more technical and just do away with that stuff. Barkey's decided to come back in. Uh,
Nice.
so yeah, so uh, I I do plan on keeping until the voice, if the voice ever gives out, that's my cue to, well, let's hang it up. But
Man.
the it's just so much fun. If you can ever, if that's something you love, kind of like me with game shows, just get in there, give it all you've got. I sent tapes and tapes, video cassette tapes, out to all kinds of production companies. One to Dick Clark, got a letter back. I'm sure it was a form letter. Said, Mr. Anderson, we've got your tape on file, and if we find an avenue that we think you do well in, we'll give you a call. Well, of course, I'm sure they deep sixed everything. Uh, Never heard from Dick Clark, but I still have those rejection letters from
Wow.
people like that I kept. I thought, one of these days, when I'm Regis Philbin, I'm going to go, you could have had me earlier. Come on. What's wrong with you? Uh,
Yeah, you could
so,
tell. You could tell that to every company in the
uh,
future. Oh man. Ooh. Okay. So
so
I was
start
also.
locally. If you're interested, start
Yeah, I
locally.
was just gonna say
What
that.
you have
I
to
throw it.
do.
Like, is that your recommendation? Like, really? Because
Absolutely.
Cumulus and iHeart is like, no.
If you can ever buddy up to anybody in the business, and there is ever an opening, which
Yeah.
happened in my case several times, I recommended a guy, and it turned out to be good. Most of them have gone far beyond what I ever am doing. Program directors and sportscasters and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and uh, they all say you were our mentor. I've had several
Wow.
people tell me, you're the reason I got in radio. We used to listen to you when we were kids. And I went, yeah, that's right. I'm 104. But I don't mind that. One guy said, I used to drive by the music store where in 1 hour a day you did a show for that first radio station I worked for. He said, I thought, oh my Lord, I want to be Ernie G. I want to do that. And to this day, he's now a program director at the 100,000-watt country music station in the market. And so,
Great.
it's not that I feel like I've been left behind, but I'm eager. My low battery thing's coming. I
Oh
am
no.
eager to assist anybody that wants to try this silly business, which has so much changed over the years. But in these days, you have to have computer skills,
That
which
is
I've
the yeah.
learned. I had a friend of mine who would have me do like production work that required computers. He said, Ernie, you're a godsend. I can't do that. and he's out of the business. Well, he's dead now, but he had to. They got rid of him because he would not. He did not have computer skills.
No,
The
yeah.
only thing he would. The only thing computer he would do is he'd download porn in the studio while while he was doing either a show or just board hopping, as we called it.
Wow.
And we got so many viruses, and the engineer said, "You have to stop doing that. You're getting all kinds of virus." But he didn't. He kept
You
doing
never
it.
listen. No.
No.
Did he get fired?
He got fired.
Good.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank God.
But
Whew.
that's you run into all sorts in this business, and he was one of the first in this area who was an icon, really.
Yeah.
He was the guy you wanted to listen to on the hit music station back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. He was like the local big shots in, New York or Los Angeles. And another funny story, I've never got to meet him, but I was at a church when I worked in Lexington, Kentucky for 18 months. I went to a church and a guy says, "You're in radio, right?" And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "Do you know Ricky Dees?" I went, "Rick Dees, the Kiss Los Angeles guy?" He went, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." He said, "He's moving to Kentucky and he's wanting us to redo the woodwork in his house." They did woodwork on the side. I went, "You know Rick Dees?" He went, "Yeah, he's a nice guy." But I never got to meet him. And
Wow.
that would have been something because he was hot. I mean, he was it. Rick Dees was just,
Yeah.
I thought, holy mackerel, the disco duck guy. And Rick
wow.
Dees top 40 count, and I thought, wow, there's one opportunity I missed because I left Lexington. I'm sure had I stayed there and worked at that radio station, which was taken over by the Weasels at Cumulus, they
Well, yeah.
didn't fire any of us, but they made you mad enough to want to leave. And so luckily, I got back to this market because there was an opening. I was at the right place at the right time, and I gladly left Cumulus to come and do local radio again.
Which is good because, again, Cumulus is bad. That's why one of our stations became a talk station. That was
Yeah,
it was, if I remember correctly, it was called Hot 93.3. Ironically, it wasn't top 40 because they had a name for a top 40 station, but it changed formats
yeah,
because due to the low ratings, and now it's a talk station, and
yeah.
Cumulus ruined it. So there you go. That's why I don't like Cumulus sometimes. Uh, okay, I have like three more questions to ask. I'm not gonna end the stream. I'm gonna end it until your battery dies, basically.
Yeah, I've got
But
it says 19, whatever that means.
okay,
So
no, it means you have enough battery. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. It, what is one of the biggest challenges you've had as being a radio host?
adapting to the changing technology, really. Uh,
Man.
had I not learned it, I would be out of a job. We went from playing actual discs,
Mhm.
45s, 33 and a thirds, and 78s in my day,
Man.
to cartridge tapes, kind of like the old 8-track tape at a different speed. So all the music was put on cartridge tapes, and you had cart machines, and you played the music from that. Well, that evolved into CDs, where you put a CD in this jewel case, it was called. You put it into the player, you dialed up the cut that you needed, and bam, it played. Well, after that, it went to computers, and all the music, all the jingles, all the commercials, everything's in computers these days. So
Oh
if
yeah.
you just don't have those skills, you're out of luck. So I gladly learned whatever I needed to learn. Um, I know how to ditch a song, how to put one in that somebody might request. I have that freedom. It's everything's pre-programmed these days
Oh
as
yeah.
well, so you don't have a choice. You just play what's there. But I do change some things out from time to time because I just played her last hour. I'm not going to play another Reba McEntire or so. So I'll substitute something. Uh, and So the changing technology is the biggest challenge these days. But you kids grew up with computers, and I certainly
We
didn't.
did.
So it's like second nature to you. You know how to do all this stuff, how to upload and download and
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I had to learn the radio stuff that my friend had because it was a weird, different software. But I had to learn that. Other than that, I think I can adapt easily. But
yeah, all this.
it
Barky,
takes a
quit.
lot. It takes a lot. Yeah.
Let me make a guest appearance by Bark Twain.
Hey,
There,
look
Barky
at that.
boy. There's my
Oh
baby.
man.
Him, daddy, good boys. All right. Yeah, I
Oh.
know you want to sit in my lap, but daddy's working. All right. Get down. Get down, baby. Come on. Get down.
Oh my god.
Ah,
While
he's
you
so
try to
good.
get while you're gonna
Any
get
more
Barky,
questions? Yeah.
I have some. What is the biggest technical mishap you've had on the air, like live, not
At
pre-recorded?
the second radio station I worked for in the same town, I left that first radio station because I didn't like the owner anymore. He rubbed me the
Man.
wrong way. So I went to the other radio station in town, which is now the only radio station. The first station no longer even exists. And so I was on the air and we had to do, well, we did obituaries and they still do today. Five
Wow.
before 11 a.m., they read local obituaries. It's sponsored by a couple of local funeral homes. Well, before that, we did a 5 minute weather forecast. You would give temperatures from around the world and all that stuff. And the owner's wife, we had a talk show called What's Your Opinion, which is still on in its 70th year. The owners have
Ooh.
long gone. But she would see the light blinking and she would know she had a call for somebody being on the air. She'd click the thing and she'd go, hello, 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 like a parrot. And nobody was there. I think people just wanted to prank her or something. So just before I opened my mic to do the weather report, one of the sales weasels, as we called them to their face and behind their back, stuck his head in the door and went, hello. And it just broke me up. And the owner was listening. And
Wow.
after he said, that's a good thing that show wasn't sponsored. What were you laughing at? I went, I was just a silly thing that struck me funny. I didn't rat out the sales weasel. And it took, thankfully, I wasn't doing the obituaries when that happened.
Imagine. So this person has passed away.
Oh,
Ah!
yeah. Yeah, really.
Start laughing.
The visitation is. Yeah, that would have been horrible. I would have probably gotten fired. I would probably have gotten fired over that.
I mean,
But
you technically already were because it was the owner's wife.
that was the wackiest thing and the funniest thing and the biggest gaffe I ever made in radio.
That I would bet, yeah.
But it just hit me funny, you know. And the only other thing is in the early days of High Q, we do 4 or 6 shows. We did 4 shows at a taping, similar to what we do 3 now. But my throat got tickled, and I coughed, and then my voice, I couldn't get my voice out. So I had, we call it pop in this area, soda for other people. I always had a bottle of pop or something underneath my table. And so I lifted the Dr. Pepper up and started drinking it because usually it would cure the tickle in my throat. And it took forever. And this was a format that was timed. There were 2 7-minute halves. And so they cut away from me and cut to the students, and they were all doing. And so we got through it, thankfully. And luckily, it didn't cost the team the game. But that's the only thing on there. Now, I still get, if you watched any of this season's episodes of IQ, you'll hear, and that's me. And so they make sure they don't come to me, and I reach behind my podium and drink my Coke Zero, and that helps. But if I talk too much, my throat gets scratchy.
The vocal, I keep forgetting what they're calling.
Yeah, your vocal cords
the vocal cords. There we go.
Yeah, just get itchy or something. But pop usually cures it for me. So
I didn't know that. Maybe I'm gonna try that the next time my throat has that scratchy feeling and see if that helps. Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna Should I show the board games right now that you showed
Oh,
me?
sure, if you want.
Okay.
I've shared them with, I don't know if I've shared them with David, and I've shared them with Jonas, my other buddy now, the
Yeah.
game show fan. And because of HiQ and people that reach out to me because we're in this game show group,
Yeah.
I've collected these games since I was a kid. Now,
Wow.
had I kept the ones as a teenager I collected, I would have had some real collector's editions of game shows. Some are so beat up, but I just can't get
I
rid
can
of them.
tell.
And I sold some of those to my a guy in New York and one in Los Angeles who said, "Oh, I'd love to have that game." Now, there's a game show host named Jack Nars who did many game shows. His son and I are on Facebook together. He said, "Do you have any shows that my dad would have hosted?" And I sent him a list. He said, "Oh, can you send this to me?" And I didn't want to charge a fortune. I charged like, $10 a game or something. But the postage going out to LA was outrageous. But he didn't care. And I'm figuring he must have these games that his dad did, but apparently
Yeah.
not. And then Bob Bowden, who is a big time game show producer, wanted to buy some, but he didn't want to pay the postage. And so some of those that I still have are ones that he was going to buy from me. And I've got, like Win, Lose, or Draw there when that was a big hit with Bert Comby and Vicki Lawrence. I wound up.
I see a Family Feud one, and
Yeah,
David
I've got.
just said in the comments that he will take some.
uh,
By the
it's,
way, I would too, but depends on the ones I'm interested in. But
Yeah. And it's just the postage. I don't really want anything for the games like that. What you're seeing there, Camouflage, is from 1961 and 2. Video Village was from 1960, 61. Tic Tac Doe, the original in the 50s with Jack Barry. Down You Go, I think, is there from the 50s. So I've got some of those. Then I've got, some from the 60s, 70s, 80s. The newest ones I have are the Joel McHale version of Card Sharks and one of the more recent Steve Harvey, of whom I'm not a fan, even though he's from West Virginia originally. Not a fan of his version of Family Feud. But
that's what they rerun now these days. So
yeah, that's all. Just too much Steve Harvey. He overreacts for the
he
comedic
does,
effect.
yeah.
Just like Drew Carey tries to say funny. Now, what I don't know, maybe some game show fan would know, and I've never asked it on Facebook. When did this stupid bendy, you can have a donut on the big wheel when they spin it, if it's just on the getting ready to go to the next dollar amount, he calls it a bendy. Oh, go ahead and have a donut. And he looks off camera to whoever this guy is and says, "Oh, you get 2 donuts now." I don't even know what that means, nor is it funny, but he laughs at it. And he laughs at his own jokes.
I wouldn't know because I don't watch it myself as much,
No.
but I don't know what the heck is happening with him.
I tape it and watch it back, but I'm not a fan of his announcer, George Gray, and his style of announcing. He's a former game show host. He did a version of The Weakest Link in syndication. He was kind of fine on that show, but as an announcer, my benchmark is Johnny Olson and then Johnny Gilbert, who did a lot of game shows, not just Jeopardy, in the day. Yeah. 2 of the best, and they were so natural at what they did. But when George Gray finishes a spiel, he'll say, "Batteries not included," and his voice goes up, and it's just awful. Johnny Olson, I could do Johnny Olson. I mean, if I actually applied when Johnny Olson died, I sent a cassette to The Price is Right as my being Johnny Olson, and talked to Cheryl Paris, who was an assistant to Barker. After 3 phone calls, she said, "Ernie," she said, "we appreciate your interest, but we're going to hire somebody from inside the Goodson Todman company." And that's when Rod Roddy got the job. And he's the second best to me to, although his voice cracks a lot, to Johnny Olson. But man, Johnny Olson was just the best, and I used to mimic him all the time. My all-time favorite game show host, Gene Rayburn. I watched the original Match Game in the 60s as a kid, and then, of course, the revamped version in the 70s, which was a riot. Uh,
Oh yeah,
uh,
and buzzer censors a lot of the
yeah, but
episodes,
my
which is
my
cool.
current favorite is 25 Words or Less with Meredith Vieira. She does a magnificent job. I didn't like her as host of Millionaire when she did that, but she's perfect for 25 Words or Less. Which the reason I
Yeah,
like
it's
it,
good.
it's a combination of Password and the Millionaire or the Pyramid Endgame, and I'm more of a word game fan, and I think I could make a great contestant or host
Yeah,
on
I
any of
get.
that stuff. But there's age discrimination in, even though she's 70 plus now, but she's been in the business all these years. So, she has an established name. She has an agent, which I don't have. But I know it's too late for me, but I've got my local gig, and I just absolutely love it.
Which is great, which is better
Yeah,
than nothing.
and
Yeah.
I'm very satisfied. The Apostle Paul says, "Listen, be content with what you have. Be grateful for what you have."
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to learn that lesson, but I have, and that gives me a
It's
peace
good.
that, as the Bible says, passes all understanding. Um, and just going to continue high Q until they say, "Nope, we don't want to do this anymore." So, but
Which
I
is
think
great.
because it's a money maker uh, for my new company, and they love having it at Marshall. There was even talk of trying to get West Virginia Public Broadcasting to air it, which would be perfect for that format. But their funding has been cut. Uh,
Sadly.
thanks, yeah, sadly, thanks to I won't get into politics. But
But
uh,
it's a valid thing to talk about. Yeah,
uh, but anyway, anything left? I'm down
anyway.
to 14 now, but I'm still there.
Ooh.
So
I was gonna ask you one thing
sure.
before I continue with the question. Why do you have an ESPN Jeopardy? And what is that about? Like
It was
I
all sports. It was all sports questions.
huh.
And it's they had. I think I sold that now, but it it had a little buzzer thing, which was cool. That's one of the reasons I got it. It was
Huh.
connected. Then I had host your own Jeopardy, which you hooked up to a television set. You could make your own games, and it had buzzers. It had score was kept. When the host clicked it right or wrong, it would either deduct or add to the score. And I gave that to a friend of mine who said,
Man.
"Do you even use that anymore?" And I went, "No." He said, "I would like to make some my own Jeopardy games to help my daughter in her lessons in school." I went, "Have
Oh.
at it. I'll never use it again." So, uh,
I would love to do that. You can do it online too, but
yeah.
it takes time.
Uh, Back then, you had to hook it up to your television. You had to physically type in on a keyboard the questions, the answer. It would pick out its own daily double, two daily
Hmm.
doubles in the second round. It would do all that and score for you. And I thought, man, this is great. This is just like hosting Jeopardy. So,
That I wanted to ask you that because that was like one of the rarest things in your collection. Well, to me,
yeah,
that's one of
yeah.
those that caught my eye, which is cool. Four more questions.
All right.
Is that okay with you?
No, sure.
Okay. What is the biggest misconception people have about radio people? Because nowadays a lot of people have opinions and
In
whatnot.
the early days, the thing was, oh, you can get all the chicks. Your voice is going to go out to them. They're going to listen to that voice long before any video is available, and they will connect with you, and you get all the chicks you want. Uh, Oddly enough, that's how I met my I say my first wife. She's the only one. That's the running
Yeah.
joke. But enough about my first wife. Well, how many of you had just the one? Well, that's what makes it funny. You say, but enough. Like you've had a no. Uh, and the other was, oh, you guys must make a fortune. And the other is, well, you. I'd like to have a job like that where you only work 4 hours a day. I went, oh
Man.
no. I go in at now 10 o'clock in the morning, do production, uh, do show prep, uh, and people think, wow, this just comes off the top of your head. I could do that. Or I could be a pronouncer like you. How do I get into something like that? And uh, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. But in my many years, I'm extremely efficient using my time. And so now that I'm not the production director, but I
Yeah.
do production, I have all this time when I go in and even sometimes during my show, to write high Q
Yeah.
questions. So that's the big misconception is you guys must make a fortune. Now, if you're Howard Stern or those big shots, yeah, you can make millions in the business.
Yeah,
But
and
no,
you're more experienced,
yeah,
basically. Like Howard Stern, like he's what like nationally known. Everybody
yeah,
knows his name already.
yeah.
So it's like,
And I'm not a shock jock. I don't say things that will shock. Oh, can't believe you said that. Because when we started, there were things you just couldn't say because the
mhm.
FCC would fine you. And one of the odd thing was that if somebody was looking for a relative, let's say we had many floods back in the early days when I started.
Yeah,
Can you get a message to my sister if she's listening? uh, Tell her to call me. Well, you couldn't do that. That was a direct message. You could not do that. You could say, if Judy is listening, her sister Marcy would like for her to call her, but you can't directly talk to that person. That was just one of the
yeah,
oddest
no,
rules, the FCC. But the FCC has relaxed so much stuff that
yeah. Now
nothing
they have.
now you
Now
can
it's
you
like,
can use a curse word and nobody will think about it. I don't personally use curse words. That's not me. Um, And if there's a song that even has the word damn or hell in it, I will not say the title of the song. To me, those are curse words.
yeah,
And I
valid.
just will not say them. I'll say, oh, that's Jody Messina's latest song, or, from 1996. And just not say that because she's already sung the title. So fine. They already know the title. I don't need to
Well,
do
yeah,
that.
and it says it on the metadata, so you can't do that. It already does it there. Okay. We talked about this earlier about iHeart and working with a local company, but what would be the difference if you worked with? Because you worked with Cumulus. Cumulus is one of
Yeah,
those
but
corporations.
very briefly,
And
because
yeah.
uh, low battery, 10% remaining.
Oh
All right.
God. Okay,
Uh,
we have enough time.
Cumulus, uh, had they stayed with me, although they made me mad enough to want to leave, they wouldn't intentionally say you're fired. They would do something that make you. I don't want to work for these people. But they
No.
were a big company. You could get better benefits working for a company like that. But now companies like that are just cutting benefits. Uh, I'm extremely fortunate to where I get a salary. Um, my last employer paid for my secondary insurance, like $400 a month. That was
Yeah.
extra money for me. But this company has a different plan, but it's much less expensive than the 400 a month. So I don't mind paying, a couple hundred a month for secondary insurance because I have Medicare. And
Yeah.
so working for a bigger company could be better benefits. Maybe you go to a big city and work, but you're at the behest of the ratings. One bad ratings book, you're out the door.
What about rating? Boom. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not good. All right.
Adios. Arrivederci. Ciao, baby.
Ciao. Uh,
Andale porque. I mean,
Dale,
uh,
porque he just said. I guess we're gonna teach you Spanish later
that's
if you
one of my
stay.
favorite things. Andale porque. And
Andale.
yeah, yeah, just hurry up. Why? I
And
don't know.
hurry up, why?
But I do this on the air as well, and people go, "What?" And just, what did he say? Why did he? And it's just one of my little catch things I do all the
We
time.
should do a segment called "Learning Spanish with Ernie." Nah, uh,
See,
see,
uno, dos, tres. Yeah, I
cuatro,
took 2 years
dos.
of Spanish, by the way, in high
Oh,
school. I wanted that to be my minor in college, but my
mhm.
advisor wouldn't let me. I had to go into journalism because broadcasting was my major,
Well, yeah, broadcasting works with journalism, and
and I
that's
hate
what I need.
journalism. Yeah.
That's what I need to do because I haven't been to college yet,
Ah,
and my friends are. And if radio is more different now than it used to be, so
no, much. Yeah,
you have to get like a degree in a way, and so I have to get myself onto that. Despite the sad things in life, let me ask you two more questions. What is the best way to grab your audience attention? Like, how do you grab their attention when you're jockeying? Let's say that.
we are a local station, so any local information you give them. Hey, there's somebody, one of the sales weasels, or somebody out and about says, "Hey, there's a wreck on Route 60. It's in between Dairy Queen and Kentucky Fried Chicken. You may want to tell people to take a different route." And so
Yeah.
we do that. We're local. Or it's snowing outside. Please be careful. We don't want to lose you. Just give them information that they need to hear, that they may
Yep.
be at work like, oh, brother, I'm glad you said that. I'm going to have to take a different route home. So local, live and local, which is one of our local TV stations, that's what they call it, live and local.
Live and
And
local.
just try to give them live local information. Now, you can't do that if you're voice tracked, obviously. Um, but when you're live, be local. Give these people all the information. Tell them what the temperature is. Tell them what it's going to go down to tonight. Um, Tell them about the wreck happening. Tell them about the fire happening, and that road is closed down. You're going to need another way around. And so, being local, you know the other routes that say you may want to take Route 5, you may want to take Route 1, or hop on the interstate. Or if there's a wreck on the interstate, get off and get on Route 60, which is a major thoroughfare here, as is I 64 here for the
Yeah.
interstate.
Yeah, that's what happened to us here in the Dallas area. Like I said, like I told you in like messages, uh, it was very like we had black guys, which is like
Yeah.
worse than normal,
Yeah.
and it's just everywhere. It got everywhere here. People were driving. If it was snowing, it was so stupid.
Yeah.
Like okay, it's like I understand if you have to do stuff like if you have to work for nursing, then yeah, but
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't make any sense. And one more question is, what's your advice to people who want to be in this career, like myself?
You need to have talent. You need to not pattern yourself after somebody, but be yourself. If
Yeah.
you're funny, great. If you're more serious, just get on with the business. And here's the song. Um if you can ask maybe a local station, said, if you'd like for me to read a commercial for you, I won't charge you. I'd love it. That gets your foot in the door.
That is
Um,
true.
and just make yourself available more than anything else. I can work any hours. I work the midnight shift. I'll work the early morning shift, which generally the midnight shift is where a lot of guys start because the listening audience is the fewest. And so if you're making a mistake, they're probably not going to fire you because if you're on the morning show, people are depending on you and you just don't
Yeah.
have the talent. You have no idea what you're doing. Uh, God blessed me with the talent to be gregarious, talkative, funny, um, and I've used that. And and that's something you can't learn this business. There's nobody that can teach you how to be a radio announcer. You have to want it so badly that you eat it up. Just like when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a game show host or an announcer, and I would be in my bedroom with a record player and the old match game theme song, which was called a Swingin' Safari back in the 60s. And I
Yeah.
would mimic Johnny Olson. From New York City, it's time to play the match game. And here's the host, Gene Rayburn. And my
Yeah.
family got so sick of hearing me, they broke my record. I didn't know that. I thought it disappeared or it was mislaid or something. They
Oh
actually,
no.
years later, I found out they just didn't want to hear that. Um, so if you
It's
find
not good.
somebody who's along your lines of, and I had nobody. I mean, I didn't pattern myself after anybody in radio.
No.
Uh, People here now liken me to a Casey. Your voice sounds like Casey. I said, no, it doesn't. But you're our Casey Kasem. You're the guy that tells us about the songs and all that stuff.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's
but Casey
nice.
Kasem.
So you have to have the talent. You can't just expect to go in without any idea what radio is, especially these days. And you have to have computer skills, but get in locally with a station, maybe the lowest rated station in the market. But once you're
I'll take
in,
it.
yeah, once you're in, you got a leg up on somebody else. So, and do
which
whatever they want you to do.
which would be great because formats I have in mind are either a shuffled station, like a mix
Yeah.
station, or all 80s. That's what my mind has been inspired on right now. Even though I wasn't born in the 80s, I love 80s. Obviously, it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite kinds of music. And I feel like you would maybe help me because you were on the, when you had the top 40 station at that time, around that time?
In the 80s, I was, yeah. That's when I
Okay.
had the 70 share of teenagers at night.
Wow.
It was the hit music station, and it's still that today, believe it or not. But their share is like 10 or 11 now because
Oh,
there's so many other things. And kids today, I don't even think a lot of them listen to radio. They've got
like I
their
said,
iPads, iPods, all that.
I heart ruin radio. Like
Yeah.
that's how I call it. Uh, I mean, those were my questions. But if you wanna talk a little bit more, we can.
Now I'm
I mean,
down to 7, so I don't want to
well, you.
cut out on you, but I love this. I mean, anytime uh, you want to talk or get some encouragement, I like to think of myself as an encourager, and
Thank you.
anybody that has the talent to want to do what I do, there's no jealous bone in my body. I'll give you all the information I can of how I started and how I've continued all these years, and have no plans on quitting. So if I can help
It's good.
one person, you know, that would be great. Because sometimes somebody will say, you know, anybody that wants to be a salesman? That's where the jobs, you can make a lot more money as a
Yeah.
salesperson uh, than you can,
Then
but that's not my cup of tea. I tried it and it was horrible, like a fish out of water. I'm not a salesman, but people say, yes, you are. You sell the music. Yeah, but I'm not selling
sell the music.
advertising time. I'm selling you on the format, basically, what
Yeah.
we play. But don't ask me to go out and approach an advertiser and say, hey, would you like to be on our radio station? We can give you a great deal. That's
We
not
get
me.
50% off.
But there's a lot of money in it, much
That
more
is
than
true.
being on the air. But if that's not your cup of tea, then forget about it, as we say in New York.
Forget
Forget
about
about
it. Forget about it.
it.
Yeah. I mean, it's all I'm gonna say is, if I may not have the exact talent. That's why we're practicing. I'm trying to be more experienced. I've been into radio archiving for like what 5 years now, six, 2020, since 2020, literally when everybody was in the inside house, whatever thing. I mean, if a lot of people say 2020 was the worst year, for me it was good because I got more into radio in that time and nobody else did, but I liked it more and more. And now, you know, I'm trying my best to do more research. Okay, I'm not like the best at it, but hey, I want to get into the
uh,
business. Maybe we'll
I
see.
have a CD of when I started, when not in 60, from 1968.
Ooh,
The reel to reel tape was stretched a bit, so it's not exactly what I would have sounded like, but you got an idea. I was horrible. That was a year and a half into my radio. I thought I was God's gift to radio because everybody was listening to me, all my friends, the whole town. You walk down the street, Ernie, Ernie, and that was just like the greatest feeling in the world.
mm-hmm.
And it's horrible. So you're not going to start out like Casey Kasem uh,
Obviously,
or like today's Ernie G. Anderson. You're just not going to do that. So you develop your own style. Hopefully, you can get in with somebody, buddy up to somebody in radio locally. Say, hey, I'd love to do what you do. Can you give me any pointers? And most guys, unless they have a horrible ego,
oh yeah,
will try to help you
100%.
out. But the jobs are few and far between because of computerization of the business.
That is
And that's
true.
why I feel so fortunate to still be doing it, but I've learned the technology. So,
I mean, I'm glad with your 6 years of radio career, you know what are the downsides, the
yeah.
upsides. I mean, everybody learns. I need to learn more, a little bit more. I mean, I'm working with a friend with this internet radio station. We're trying. We're still doing the best we can.
Yeah.
Uh, I had to still do more technology stuff on that, but other than
I
that,
will I will say to you, you have a very pleasant voice, which
thank
really
you.
would help. Uh, hey, you don't want to sound like this on the radio.
And
Uh,
I'm like, ow.
yeah, you don't want to be
Everybody,
very
yeah.
nasal and be on the radio. Uh,
No,
just
no.
be yourself. Don't try to be a Casey Kasem or don't try to be a Dick Clark or just be yourself.
I'm gonna be
And that
you.
way,
I'm kidding.
oh, please set your sights higher than that. Uh, you should have the career I've had and love it like I still do. Um, but no plans to give it up. And anytime you guys ever want to talk, oh, feel free. I love talking about it, encouraging you guys,
Sweet.
um, and just go for it, go for it. And the sooner you can touch bases with somebody locally, the better you'll be. and you can work at it as you go. Like, I didn't. The voice I have now is not what it was when I started. I was 16 years
Yeah.
old.
You were
Over the
like-
years, it's deepened. I've been in like at National Academic Tournament when I'm a moderator. I've been in an elevator, and I go, "Which floor?" They go, "Oh, you must be one of the moderators." And I went, "Yeah." That voice, and then teams that would come back year after year. Mine was the fun room. We always had fun in my room. We didn't compromise the play of the game. And they said, "We want in your room. You're the best." I went, "Well, thank you. I appreciate that." But and even my tournament director said, "Ernie, everybody loves you. You are our best moderator." I went, "Well, thank you." And this is a guy that created it back in 1979.
Yeah.
So, and we're still buds these days, but I'm done after 36 years because he sold the business. I'm done with it, and I'm happy with that.
Which is it's fine. You don't need him. You already have radio. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't need that. Since you're very slow, I guess this is the end of the interview.
I'm down to 3 now, so.
Okay, yeah. I think we're gonna have to go because last time we did it, you were on your phone.
Muchas gracias, Juan, mi amigo.
De nada.
Tú eres muy guapo. I don't even know what that means. But...
You just called me handsome. Oh, thank you.
Well. Is that
Well,
what
thank
that
you for
means?
calling me that. Thank you for calling me that. I mean, I try to look my best.
Well, when's that going to start?
No.
Those
It's
little,
fine.
those little one-liners,
No, I love that. I keep that going. Keep calling me ugly. No, I'm kidding. I will see you another day. This is the end of the interview for the 3000 Hangouts. Thank you for watching.
All right, and
Ernie,
episode, I think, 9 of HiQ is going to be online here in the next day or 2 or 3. So.
All right, I'll watch it. I'll be sure to watch that. And I will see you next time. Bye, Ernie.
Adios, senor.
Adios.